Hey everybody, it's your friend and your guy and your favorite fallacious creator, Gardiner. Yeah, I don't care, whatever. I'm in my new apartment now. I am so stoked to be here. It's probably audio quality hell right now. I apologize, I'm working on it. I gotta set up my sound dampening, the echo dampening stuff, but yeah, right now, we're just gonna have to deal with it. There are a ton of native Linux games and so many awesome AAA and indie titles alike. And truthfully, it would be wrong-headed to ignore how important macOS has been in getting games ported over to Linux. I mean, I honestly believe it's had a huge impact on Linux gaming as a whole. Ethan Lee, one of the more prolific Linux and macOS developers, he's been working tirelessly for the last 9 years, porting over countless games to these alternative operating systems. He's one of the guys behind some of the most high-profile Humble Bundle ports to Linux as well. And so many of my favorite native Linux games have actually come from Ethan Lee. I mean, we got Fez, Escapegoat, Towerfall Ascension, Transistor, Bastion, Owlboy, Celeste, the list goes on. And I mean, that's only a fraction of the games that he's actually ported over, and that would be an impressive portfolio on its own. So yeah, you can say that Ethan's been pretty influential in the world of Linux gaming. So when he posts an article on his website, iculus.org, about the future of Mac games, I took notice. The way you would usually pitch a Linux version was by pitching a Mac version first, and then you'd show them both builds and be like, LOL, fooled you, they're actually the same. That worked pretty well about 5 years ago, but these days it's not the best plan. Apple's removal of their only standard graphics library, OpenGL, is the change everyone has already beaten to death. As they have diverged further and further away from open standards, the ability to build for one and then quickly build for the other has gotten less and less possible for developers who don't have a lot of resources. Intel Macs will be going away soon, and Mojave is going to hit the end of life this year. I put it off for as long as I could, but after looking at Apple's trajectory versus my own infrastructure for Mac support, it's looking like 2021 is the year that I finally have to say goodbye to the Mac as a primary target. This is a huge change that affects a number of my existing customers. I will continue to support my current Mac games for as long as I physically can. You bought a Mac game, you're keeping that Mac version. I didn't put out a post like this one for nothing. You gave me your money and have treated me very well this past decade. You deserve at least some of my attention based on that alone. But new games will primarily be Linux and Windows if applicable only. Ethan says that the gateway to getting Linux ports approved nowadays is actually through console ports, bizarrely enough. But the fact is, Apple is moving to ARM, and that's going to affect the entire computing world. Now, I made a video about a month ago asking if Apple's move to ARM would lead to Linux desktop dominance. In the video, I mused on whether or not other manufacturers would see this move to ARM and ship their own ARM-powered machines. And the fact that Windows for ARM is complete trash, I mean, makes me think maybe that's the case. But there's something else that I didn't mention in that previous video. The fact that Mac and Linux are so similar. That had an impact on the number of new Linux titles being released on natively for Linux. And when Apple moved from OpenGL to Metal, that changed how developers like Ethan Lee were able to get ports for Linux approved. So too will Apple's move to the M1 chip impact native Linux gaming. In his post, Ethan detailed how he is considering building Apple Silicon binaries for his customers, for his existing Mac games. But he also suspects that other manufacturers are going to be building ARM-based machines pretty soon, and he'll probably have to support ARM for Linux and Windows as well. But truthfully, we're entering uncharted territories here. I suspect that Linux is actually going to grow in market share relatively fast compared to its competitors, especially as ARM market share continues to grow on non-Apple products. But since Steam and literally all the games on it are built for x86 and not ARM, and I've yet to see a comparable open source alternative to something like Rosetta 2, which translates x86 instructions into ARM, I don't know if we're going to be seeing Steam games on ARM Linux. That's why when people ask me, hey, install Steam on the Librem 5, that's not going to work. But yeah, I don't know. I'd like to know what you guys think about this. Do you think that this move by Apple is going to impact negatively the number of Linux games coming out for Linux. I mean, I'd love to hear what you guys think about this. Let me know down below. I want to take a second and thank all of my patrons over on Patreon who make what I do here possible. I mean, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be able to do this. They were also generous enough to support me while I was moving, and I like, that was a huge thing for me. I was very concerned about my release schedule on the channel not being kept up with, and they have just been so supportive. So thank you guys. You mean the world to me. If you believe in the work that I do and you want to help support the show, you can head over to Patreon and make a pledge, a monthly pledge, and it's very much appreciated. Thank you so much for watching. I think that's going to do it for now. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a blessed day.